rolling. And I just, I plug it into my little calculator that we made. I'm like, okay, this property is getting me $250 every month. I'm setting aside $250 every month. That's $500 every single month going to my next rental property. Boom. And I figure out that all I need is 2 months times to make $1,000. And then I need that 20. So I need basically 20 months, right? 20 months to get my next $20,000. Boom. So 40 months, whatever. And you just keep doing that. And then the next property, when it starts making you cash flow, you're not in a rush. You're going through your career, you're going through your job, keep your day job. But this is just, like you were saying, it's another part of that stool. It creates a whole other way for you to save, a way for you to create assets. Because, I mean, you're gonna see it one day, and you're gonna be like, wow, I'm collecting these rent checks. Oh, wow, by the way, every single year, my rent's going up 3%. So your cash flow is actually increasing. So that $250 you're making every single month off this one property you bought, years down the road, it's making you $300 or maybe $400 every single month. So you're essentially, if you have, let's say, 10 rental properties, every year you're going to actually start collecting more money. As long as you're properly maintaining them, you have good property managers, you're taking care of your maintenance, you bought them in areas where there's job growth, there's good neighborhoods, good stable markets. You're going to be getting wealthier every single month because those people are going to be paying off your debt and the rents are going to increase. Like, it's almost a rule that in good markets, rents go up about 3%. It's just, I mean, I'm not making this up, folks. You can look at all the stats yourself. On average, rent in good markets, rent does go up about 3% every single year. In San Diego, I was worried that this wasn't going to be the rule because, for example, in the extreme markets like San Francisco and in New York and stuff, it's absolutely not the case. When the housing market crashed, rents did go down. Whereas in San Diego, I actually looked at it. It's crazy. Right after 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, the worst years after the crash, actually rents kept going up. RBAH kept going up. So I bought a primary residence here. So even if the market crashes, I'm not going to sell this thing. I'm just going to keep it. I'm going to rent it out. And if it's not cash flowing immediately, if I when I PCS somewhere, it's going to eventually. Because this is a Southern California property and it's a nice 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It ain't going nowhere. People are always going to want to live here. And that brings me to my next point. Like, if you buy a house as a rental property, don't obsess about its value. As long as the numbers work in every single month, you're making money. I don't care if my rental property in Union, Georgia, after a crash happens tomorrow, I don't care if it's worth half of what I paid for it. As long as there's still renters in there and as long as they're still paying it off and as long as I'm still making money every single month, because that's all I care about is that stream of income.
Right.
I mean, at least that's just my mindset, right? And we started off talking about like the taxes a little bit too with the Roth IRA piece. If you have a rental property and you decide you don't want that one anymore, you want a bigger one because it appreciated a good amount and you're like, oh, I want to roll that into a multifamily property now that's like 5 units. You can totally do that and you won't pay a penny of taxes on that either. It's called a 1031 exchange. You buy a like asset according to the IRS and it's called a lifetime exchange. You have to use a special custodian. You sell one, then you get the other, and all those capital gains get rolled away. And you keep rolling that ball down the road until you pass away and you pass it on to your children and they do not inherit the capital gains taxes. So, I mean, I can talk about taxes all day too. It's insane. It's insane. It's really, really, it's the cornerstone of American wealth as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So as a CEO of your particular operation there, what would you say maybe some of the things are that as a business owner kind of keep you up at night though? There's probably a couple things, wouldn't there?
Yeah. So are you things that keep me excited or things that get me
on a concerning level?
On a concerning level, it is that honestly that people just won't the people that come into our so this is what we have, right? We have a bunch of free content, we have a course, and we have members coming in that are just starting off and they're buying rental properties. They went through our course. They're like, they get really excited. Some of them crush through our course in like 3 days. They're like, all right, I want to get a rental property now. And they get one, and then there might be an issue coming. So like, for example, we had a guy who had a squatter in his rental property because the property management wasn't able to lease it up fast enough, which is a lesson learned. Never buy a turnkey rental property that isn't already rented, and that's in the contract. Anyway, so we had a squatter show up, and it cost a bunch of money, but the company covered it, so he's good. It's those little things, because now I'm like, goodness, this one little life situation, I hope that doesn't change his mindset on real estate. I hope a bump in the road, a stumbling, doesn't like ruin his entire mindset. And I don't think it will. This guy's super motivated, but I've had tons of difficulties really getting this whole ball rolling for myself and family. I own a primary residence, a rental property, and a 56 unit apartment building with my parents. Massive undertaking. But we didn't get there overnight, and there was a lot of issues along the road, along the way. But it's that kind of stuff. What keeps me up is that I hope that difficulties don't dissuade people from just pressing forwards. You know what I mean? Like, it takes a lot of grit and perseverance to keep at it, and to realize that it's not gonna ruin your day. I mean, it might ruin your day, but it's not gonna ruin your whole life. Like, if you have an issue with a rental property, it's okay. Nothing's immediate, nothing's urgent. It'll take care of itself eventually. You'll make the right steps and just hang on tight. Like, you'll just enjoy the ride. It's an experience. You won't make that mistake next time, and move on.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because with so many businesses and startups, the times are going to get tough at some point. You'll have little bumps in the road, like you said, and just realizing that those are bumps in the road, but they're also learning opportunities. And mindset is everything. You see it, you learn from it, you move forwards. As we say, sit in service, suck it up, move on, and you'll be good.
Yeah. Agreed. Exactly. We've had a lot of good stories in our group, but there are a couple of stumbling blocks or a couple of bumps in the road that happen. But that's kind of like why we created our group, is because a lot of military folks, there's a barrier of entry of trust, right? We're like, right. I don't know if I can get into this world, and what if I don't see this rental property? And well, that's what we're all for. We're like a quality control hub. We're a group that kind of, we take care of our own, and we all just like kind of get through it together. And if there's an issue, you have like just a multitude of other people that you can ask, like, hey, has this ever happened to you? Has a tenant ever broken your dishwasher? What did you do in that situation? And then you have all these guys able to tell you like, hey, this, that, and the other thing. The beauty about what we're doing, and the reason why we call it active duty passive income, is that if you set everything up, it should be fairly passive. You should have a property manager who is taking care of you. You're not going to be getting phone calls about broken dishwashers. You might get an email eventually that they'll ask you like, hey, do you want us to buy a new one, or kind of just fix this one up? Like, that's pretty much about it. And you might get an occasional squatter, but that's very, very, very rare. But you're not going to be on the phone answering broken toilet calls. I guess that's what my point is you're not going to have to worry about it too much. The property manager should take care of everything. And if you do the numbers right, if something breaks, you should have had that reserved already to kind of fix it, and it's not going to affect your numbers and your cash flow. So, like I said, but there's a lot of good, but there are some kind of painful experiences, but it's all good. It's all good for learning.
Yeah, and a key caveat there is something you were mentioning, Markian, is, and kind of build on that, is when you're setting up that relationship with the people, say the ones that are going to be your property managers, and then the relationship that they build.
Yeah.
Right. When you build that relationship with them, and then they in turn are building that with the tenant, is that the expectation is up front. And so you build that relationship to where they know what to expect, up front. And so you're not going to have, the bad tenant situation because you already tell them, this is what we expect. You put that out there, you sort of set the stage. And so a lot of people are I think, worried about, the what ifs and they're creating a whole bunch of head trash when you don't have to worry about that. Just, you build that relationship, with knowing what the terms of the relationship are up front.
Yeah.
That goes across with any business.
Yeah. Yeah. For example, with our apartment complex with 56 units, that's a lot of people living in their lives depending on the operation you run. We eventually just told our property manager, because we're expecting, a ton of maintenance every single month, like over $5,000 worth of maintenance every single month. But it's okay because that's in our numbers. It makes sense for us. We told them, like, hey, if anything's under $200, don't even email us for approval. Just do it, because we're trying to make it more passive. We're trying to show them that our property manager, as long as we trust our property manager, trying to show them, like, hey, we trust you. Like, if a toilet's broken, you need to fix it, just do it. Don't call us. Don't email us. Don't bother us. Just let us know at the end of the month, like, hey, this is what we did. This is what it cost. We'll be like, cool. And then every month to month, if there's like, if something seems out of place or it's too much on a certain month, we'll look into it and we'll figure it out. But it's not gonna, we have worked it all out. That being said, for example, we're not happy with our property managers at our apartment buildings. We're actually changing them. Not the end of the world. We interviewed a couple of new property managers, some that actually have better software and a little more modern for our liking, especially since we're not living right next to our apartment building. And we're going to have them take over in a couple of months. It just, it is what it is. And we don't stress about it. I mean, there is a little bit of stress, but it's not anything crazy. You just have to roll with the punches and move on to the next one. Yeah.
So how did you work in? Now, I'm guessing that with your business, you did have to go through the proper, business planning stages and so forth to set, the business plan and the strategies to keep all of that going. How did that work with your business?
Just real quick, is this about our online education platform, or is this just about like my personal me and my family's real estate investing?
No, either one.
Okay. So, I mean, I can cover. So I think what might also, I've been talking a lot about real estate, and guys, please feel free to look me up and talk to me about that stuff after this podcast. But as far as the other side of what I'm doing is I'm running an online business, so to speak. It is really it is a website and a mentorship platform for people that get into this. And so the way I got into that world was very different than the mindset was the same. I was like, I want to create an income producing asset. So I figured, hey, I'm really good at computer stuff. I'm doing this real estate stuff. Why don't I bring it all together? And I start teaching people through my technical skills and recording videos and stuff and get them, step by step to see how I did it, to show them kind of our story, my team's story. I got 4 other guys with me, and we're all just teaching them different aspects of it. And so I just started. There wasn't a lot of planning up front. It was just me. I created a website, and I was just like, all right. And then I spent 6 months just recording PowerPoint videos and myself doing interviews on specific topics and laying out a syllabus. And that syllabus took a lot of planning, because I realized that there was no like path. Like, hey, if you're in the military and you want this to be passive and there's certain things you need to learn, just watch this, one video after another, and then it'll kind of all click and then you'll be ready to go. There's no one thing military curated out there that I could find. We're the only real military real estate investing online club. And so there was no support system like what we are now for me back then. And I was like, I want anybody like Sergeant Schmuckatelli, Captain Door, whatever you want to call them, coming in and being like, holy cow, this is what I've been looking for. Like somebody who's been wanting to create passive income, and they're like, oh, I just need to follow this course. Then there'll be a whole group of guys just like me that once we're all on the same level of education, I can start buying properties and I can start getting motivated by each other. And so that was really all the planning I had. I was like, I just want that to exist. And so I started recording these videos And then it just started like going out of control. Like the thing was